Yes, locomotives are cool, but when you come down to the Watercress line and to any heritage railway, it's the coaches you're going to be riding in. Now, at the moment, they're on the pit. It is January here at the Watercress line, and they're currently having what can only be described as their MOT. So without further ado, let's take a deeper look at what's involved.
Hi, I'm Phil 2, Carriage and Wagon. We've got the coaches over the pit for doing their annual exam, essentially their annual MOT, make sure that they're all in good condition and fit for passenger service. Part of the B exam is we look at the buffer heights. We need the buffers to sit within a certain tolerance so they don't catch on other rolling stock, and they allow vehicles that have got a gangway on them, passengers don't trip over on the gangway when they're going between vehicles. Okay, so we've got an axle box open here. So we've taken the axle box pad out, which is essentially a bit of carpet with some tails on it, checked it's clean, cleaned it of any water, refilled the axle boxes with oil after we've checked the condition of the actual journal here itself and the white metal bearing crown and the slipper that holds it in the correct position. Basically checking nothing's worn, nothing's showing any signs of deterioration. And then that gets sealed back up, and that will go for another 3 months before we check the oil levels on it. Leaf springs, just check all the leaves, make sure nothing's cracked, there's no signs of corrosion or any damage to those. Make sure all the fixings for the suspension itself are sound and in place. Axle box keeps, they hold your axle boxes in place so that if the vehicle's lifted off the ground, the wheels don't fall off. Check your brake shoes are in good condition and they're adjusted correctly. We've got the battery boxes here which contain the batteries that provide the electrical power for the lights inside the vehicle. So again, just checking that nothing's corroded, everything's nice and tight and in good condition. And at some point we'll also check the specific gravity of the batteries and the level of electrolyte in them, but that's another part of the exam that we're not going to get to just yet. Right, so now we're done with the outside, let's crawl underneath the vehicle and have a look at what's going on underneath. Okay, so now we're in the murky underworld of the coaches. Just checking the draw gear here. So you've got your draw hook, which is what the coupling attaches to other vehicles. So we check that all our pins are sound in good condition, all the split pins are in place. While we're here, look at your steam heat pipe, make sure that that's not corroding, you haven't got any steam heat leaks. Check your vacuum pipe is sound, again, looking for holes in it, so then you'd have a leak on your brake system, which would be suboptimal. You've got your safety hangers for your brake table, which is here. So this is your brake rigging itself. And here you've got the fulcrum lever that operates the brake with a pull rod that runs the length of the vehicle, well, to the centre of the vehicle. And then there's a way shaft there that's actuated by the vacuum cylinder, and in this vehicle's case, a handbrake as well. Now we're checking the dynamo on the vehicle. This provides the charge to the batteries, which provide the lights for the coach. This one's disconnected, but if it was running, we'd be checking that all the fixings are tight, that the belt's in the correct tension. If it was out of tension, we'd adjust the linkages up here to move it into the correct tension so that when it's under load, it provides the correct amount of charge to the batteries on the coach. The griminess continues. Here we've got your handbrake screw that will apply the brake if you're not using a vacuum brake or when the vehicle's parked. It just attaches to your way shaft, which converts the vertical motion of the piston on the right hand side to a horizontal motion to apply the brakes to both wheel sets. Again, we check the bearings are all sound and tight and lubricated, check all our fixings are tight, all our safety hangers are in the correct position and they're not making a bid for freedom. Check the adjustment of the brakes as well. This is where we adjust it on the 3-hole adjusters on the pull rods, and move our way down the vehicle as we go. We're going up in the world here. You've got your draw gear damping here, which you've got a rod running the entire length of the vehicle, or 2 rods with the hooks on the end. This is the rubber dampers that mean when the coupling takes up load, it's not a shock load, it's got a little bit of compression in it, a little bit of movement, so you get a smoother ride and you're not stressing anything with any unexpected impacts. So we check that it's not cracked, all the fixings are correct, the adjustments are correct. Then we carry on looking at the rest of the vehicle. Here we've got the vacuum reservoir for the vacuum cylinder down there. It's a Southern vehicle with a Southern brake cylinder, so the vacuum reservoir is separate to the actual brake cylinder itself, unlike later BR vehicles where they're combined. So again, just check that this is fixed in good condition, hasn't got any deterioration on it, and that all the unions to the vacuum cylinder are connected correctly, and again, not showing any signs of perishing or wear. Now we're just looking at the wheel set underneath the vehicle. Key areas you check. You've got your tyre here, which is replaceable. Then you've got your wheel dish, which is integral to the axle, essentially, and a Gibson ring, which is a big up circlip, basically. When the tyre's applied, it's heated so that it goes over the wheel dish. Then when it cools, it contracts on there. It's a good solid fixing. We're looking for any signs of any movement between the tyre and the wheel dish, because that would be a sign that things are getting loose, and that's suboptimal to say the least. This all is all like, you've got a dirt seal essentially, which is what you're looking at. It's not broken, there's no sign of any movement. Then we've got your axle journal running through the centre. You're looking for any kind of wear marks, if the brake rigging might have caught on it here, if something's fallen off at some point in time. Looking for any wear around the circumference, because that could cause the axle to fail. Pleased to say this one is in very good condition and fit to see another day. Now we're underneath a Bogie vehicle as opposed to a four-wheel bit of stock. Going back to checking on the tyre and the Gibson ring and the wheel dish, we've got the white marks here that show that everything is actually in line. You paint 3 of them on at 120 degrees apart, and then it's a much quicker visual check to see whether something slipped. The BY we were looking at earlier, that's something we'll paint on when we get it in the workshop later this week. Right, okay, so now we've gone up in the world a little bit, looking at the centre casting. There's 2 of these on a Bogie coach, which is the main bearing between the Bogie and the coach itself. You've got one section fixed with 4 or 6 bolts to the underside of the coach, and then because this is on Commonwealth bogies, the centre casting plate on the bolster is actually cast into the bolster of the bogie itself. You can just see in there you've got the ferrobestos ring, which is your dry bearing liner essentially that it turns on, and so that's what means that this can go around corners. We just need to check that nothing's worn, again nothing's cracked, all the fixings are good and tight, and that it's fit for another year's service. Back looking at a Dynamo that's actually got a Dynamo belt fitted to it. So this Dynamo belt turns off a pulley on the coach wheel above me, and then onto the Dynamo itself. Check the Dynamo belt's not worn, it's not starting to fray. This one's actually in very good box fresh condition. You've got a safety chain here which basically stops the Dynamo from swinging around like a pendulum if the Dynamo belt was to snap. And then you've got a vertical face on the back of the Dynamo that we check is as near vertical as possible, and that ensures that the correct weight is being put on the Dynamo belt so that it doesn't slip when it's under load. While we're back up in the daylight, we'll check the condition of the tyres themselves, make sure there's no flat spots on the tyres, no unnecessary, unexpected wear lines. We also take measurements of the thickness of the tyre and the height of the flange in reference to the tread face. As the tyre wears, essentially the flange grows. There's a maximum limit we get to with that before we have to send the wheels off to be turned. But these ones are in good condition, will live to fight many more days. Interiors we've already done last week. We've gone through the underside of these 2 vehicles. So now we'll ship these 2 off the pit, and then we've got a pile more coaches up there to work through. That's another 4, and we've got another 5 coaches in Alresford that we've got to work through, so 9 more coaches to do, and then we are good to sign the exams off for another year.
So there we are, the glamorous side of coaches, a very important job indeed. But I don't envy the guys here when you just see just how much they've got to do. That's it from us this time, folks, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you to Phil for chatting to us, and we'll see you next time.